Oh my god, I graduate tomorrow. What the fuck? If you're like me, or basically any teenager during your teenage years, you probably were looking forward to graduation. But now that it's finally coming, I'm actually a bit scared. And I don't know why. It could be because I might not have anything to do with my life after graduation. It could be I'm just not used to, not having to go to school daily. It could be any number of things, but I'm mostly scared because I still don't know where my life is going to take me after high school. This is another emergency post. I made a video on my main channel recently talking about how I'm going to be posting on the second channel more. So videos are not going to just be weekly. They're going to be whenever I get to them, essentially, whenever I post them. I'm going to post at least one every week, but I'm not going to limit myself to just one because the main channel is just not the focus right now. And I just want to yap. Hi, I'm Ember. Welcome to the second channel where I talk about whatever's on my mind this week or whatever's on my mind whenever I just start recording to yap. And guess what? I cannot believe it. I'm graduating tomorrow morning. I have to wake up at 9 in the morning. I have to be able to get up, be ready, because we're going to the high school to practice. Well, I'm getting dropped off for transportation to practice the graduation ceremony. And then it's the real thing. How did I get here already? Despite all the troubles I've dealt with my entire high school life, it still feels surreal that we're even here. Like, I've been struggling through high school almost the entire time, and now somehow I still managed to graduate. Whether that's a testament to how bad the American school system is or how good, does not matter. I'm finally leaving school behind and probably never going to college. This is my last time ever going to a school. I'm scared. Where do I go from here? What do I do after high school? Do I keep, doing what I've been doing? Obviously, that's not what I'm going to do because most of what I've been doing is sitting on my ass. Do I pursue college? Do I go to a community college? Like, what do I do? What do I do? I don't know. But I really hope things get better. I'm mostly hoping that my independence after high school does not spell certain death for my financial situation because knowing me, that would happen. Knowing me, I would end up just homeless after high school. But I'm making plans and doing work and putting in effort to make sure that doesn't happen. I'm just, I don't know. Keep in mind, this is a midnight rant. I'm literally ranting in the middle. It's 12:19 a.m. right now. I should be in bed, but I'm so nervous and excited about this that I don't think I can sleep, and I'm probably gonna have to chug a cup of coffee in the morning. Where do I go from here? Where do I go? High school was definitely some of the harder years of my life. Nowhere near as hard as my childhood, where I spent most of it homeless, but in terms of like growing up, I definitely grew the most in high school. For better or worse, it could be determined. My parents would say worse, I would say better, but it's just, I look at freshman year me and I do not see me. I'm a completely different person now. I've finally decided to fully transition. I'm presenting more femininely. I have a community. I'm putting in effort in my YouTube channel instead of just making random YouTube videos. I have freedom to do whatever I want mostly. In freshman year, I was constantly playing games on my school computer. Never did anything productive with my life. Granted, I don't know if me grinding it out on Twitch and YouTube could be counted as productive. I guess it just depends what lens you look at it from, but I, I, I don't think that I could confidently say that I'm the same person that I was in freshman year. I'm so different now. I've gone through things, suffered through things that were traumatic. I've also gone through really good things, really good changes, like finally figuring out that I'm a trans woman and not a femboy or just some gay gender non-confirming guy. I am a woman. Granted, one of my parents would beg to differ, but I don't care about his opinion. Things have changed so much, in fact, that I look at myself from freshman year and then look at myself now and don't see the same person. Especially like how I hold myself. I'm far more confident in myself now than I was in freshman year. And that is insane to me because I'm still not that confident. It's just hard to think, wow, you're not the same person from freshman year. You're not the same person from even last year. You're different. You've changed. You've changed for the better, sometimes for the worse, but you've changed. How much change happens so fast will never not be insane to me. I was both stunted from growing up and forced to grow up faster than I was supposed to at the same time. Stunted from growing up because, well, I lived in poverty, so I didn't really get much time to interact with other kids and learn social cues or anything that mixed with the intense anger issues, horrible role models, and essentially, you know, inability to understand the world around me. It didn't really help me in the later parts of my teenhood, or really at any point after I finally learned what the fuck was going on in the world. At the same time, I was forced to grow up faster because I needed to take care of my mom and my sister while also being homeless. I've gone through so much as a person since I was little. I've been, I've been through trauma, I've been through hardship, I've also been through good things, and while the trauma does last longer than the good stuff, it also has matured me as a person in ways I could never truly be 100% mad at. Don't get me wrong. I really wish it never happened to me, but I would not be the same person I am today had it not happened. I would not have the emotional insight on relationships that I have now had I not been groomed into dating a pedophile when I was the ripe age of 15. Again, it was a horrible experience. I don't wish that upon anyone. But it did mature me. And that's what I'm thinking is like, how much does one have to go through in life? How much hardship does one have to go through in life to become like a decent person, I guess? I wouldn't say I'm a very good person. I'm moderate at best. You know, I make mistakes. We all make mistakes. But holy crap, I've changed so much as a person since I was little. And a lot of it comes down to trauma and how it affected the way I think. I'm, in fact, incredibly, incredibly paranoid all the time. Like, all of my mental disabilities definitely came from my younger years, but working through them could not have happened in my younger years. I'm thinking now, like, I'm incredibly proud of how I've grown as a person, despite also making a ton of stupid decisions, during my teenhood. High school was a very rough time for me. I was struggling with the most gender dysphoria I've ever dealt with. Still struggling with it. You know, parents never really accepted me for who I was, constantly being kind of berated for who I was because they don't like that I'm a furry and they don't like that I'm trans. I struggled through the fact that I'm quite defiant. I am do not bow down to authority. And whether that's a good or bad thing is kind of on you to decide, but that caused a lot of tension in my family because I wouldn't just bow down and listen to my parents, even if it was for the better. Like, there were a lot of times, like, they told me to save. They told me to do a bunch of stuff that eventually would end up helping me in the future, and I didn't because I had already lost trust in them, and I had already grown to not trust adults because of my traumatic past when I was a kid, especially men. I've never really been able to connect with my dad because, I have a traumatic past with men. It's weird thinking about it now, but I don't think I would trust my dad now either. Like, sure, I've worked through my traumatic past with men, but he's shown time and time again he doesn't support who I am, he does not like me, and he does not care about me. And while I ultimately do not care, it still kind of hurts knowing that there's people out there who do not like me just because I'm different, Like, why does he hate me for being trans? What did I do other than want to be a woman that makes him tell me to my face, oh, you need to be eradicated? I mean, I already knew this stuff was going to happen. The minute I turned 18, they didn't have to be nice to me anymore. And while my mom still has enough self-control to be, my dad does not care. And I get it. It's fine. I don't know. I don't know. You just, growing up, you never think, oh my god, I'm going to be traumatized into becoming a different person entirely. In fact, growing up, you never even think about your future. Most people don't. Most people think about what's going on in here and the now because you're, a kid. Even after you get to high school, you don't start thinking about your future until like the middle of sophomore year because you're like so busy goofing off, You're a teenager. That's just how it is. But me, I spent a lot of my time too focused on the here and now, and especially too focused on the past. And that has essentially fucked me over in the current here and now. I'm about to be homeless because I was so focused on instant gratification of I want to talk to my friends again. Because there was a point in time where my parents would not let me have Discord. Perfectly understandable. Discord is the breeding ground for pedophiles. But the reason they wouldn't is because they didn't like that my friends were furries, essentially. And they also thought all of my friends were the same as the person who had groomed me. during my sophomore year. And they assumed all of my friends were like that. And they gave me a non-negotiable telling me I wasn't allowed on Discord. And if I got on Discord, I would get kicked out. And it happened. Eventually, I got on Discord because I missed my friends too much. And I still can't decide who was truly in the wrong there. I personally think it's probably a mix of both parties, but for some reason my brain wants to blame one or the other, and I don't know why. It's just interesting to think, like, if I hadn't made that decision, I would still have plenty of time to plan my future ahead of me. But I don't anymore. I'm really hoping things get better for me after I move out. You know, having independence from my parents is kind of what I've always wanted. But I still feel bittersweet about it for reasons I can't explain. Probably just because I've never lived on my own. And now that I'm about to, it's terrifying to think, oh my god, wait. What am I gonna do now that I'm like an adult living away from my parents with no financial support other than what I can do myself? You know, the way that we raise our kids these days really doesn't prepare them for the actual world. No matter how much we try, it just doesn't. Some parents do it right, some parents don't. Some parents do it in a unique way that helps. Some parents do it in, you could say, unique way that actually damages them mentally, physically, and emotionally. It just depends, you know? Depends where you're at in the world, depends how your parents were raised. So many different factors, and also, I ended up getting adopted. I ended up going into foster care and struggling through that throughout most of my middle school age. And then during the high school years, I should have been working and looking for a job and saving money. I was living with my aunt in the middle of nowhere and got tossed into a residential facility for wanting to talk to my friends. No idea what I would do had none of that happened. But I guess because I'm me, I just can't help but to blame them, despite also knowing that I made a lot of mistakes along the way. I, I hope I'm making sense. I'm sorry I keep posting these random videos of me yapping. I really hope this isn't boring. I don't know where the future's headed, but I really hope things begin looking up for me, my friends, my family, this country, this planet, everything. Because if things don't start looking up, my adulthood came too late and I'm never going to live a normal adulthood that past generations have been able to live. Not that in America you can ever live a normal adulthood, but you know what I mean. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked it, make sure you smash the like button for more content. Subscribe. I'm still working on the AI video. Don't worry. It'll either come out this week or next week. I have to do research, and I just have not had the time because I've been actively working on other videos, other projects, specifically involving my Twitch. And I've also been, you know, mostly worried about my friend. Like, me and my friend Goalie are moving in together soon, and we're both kind of just trying to get ourselves jobs, money, stuff that can keep us going, as long as possible. We're trying to it's basically an endurance war, to see how long we can last. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next video. I might post again tomorrow. Who knows? Just yapping seems to just, it feels good, you know? Bye.